Well, hello everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you're from. I am down here in Boca Raton, Florida, at the Brandon Hall Group headquarters, and have with me Michael Rochelle. Michael's up in Boston, so we're both on Eastern time zone. But if you can see in the chat, we're already starting the chat here. If you can contribute, we would love to hear from you. Ivy just dropped in where are you joining from and what HR processes are you most interested in enhancing with AI. So throughout the presentation, we want to get your feedback. I hope you all will contribute to the conversation and make a really collaborative webcast. For those of you who do not know Brandon Hall Group, we are a research and analyst firm, and today we are going to be talking about one of the studies that we have upcoming on AI and HR. So your feedback is going to help influence our research on this topic. In general, what we help organizations do is inspire a better workplace experience. So our mission is to empower excellence in organizations around the world through our research and tools. And sorry, having a little bit of a sync issue. We also will be debuting some of our award case studies during this presentation. So we do have an awards program that's open right now, the HCM Excellence Awards. It's due April 11th. So for those of you who participate in our awards program, make sure you're on track. If you're not familiar with our awards program, you're going to actually hear from two organizations that have submitted their AI and HR submission and won gold awards in our program. So you get a little taste of what we're looking at from an award standpoint. And finally, if you have not heard about Institute by Brandon Hall Group, it is our model to helping organizations elevate not only people elevate themselves, but help elevate the organization that they work in. So it comes with all of our access to research, those case studies I mentioned, courses, certifications, access to faculty, and our analyst team. And we do have a raffle today. So if you do stay on till the end of the webinar, we will unveil a raffle to win a free Excellence in Action Award submission. Okay, I know that we already started a little bit with who we are, but just a little bit more. My name is David. I'm a Senior Vice President here at Brandon Hall Group, and I'm joined with Michael Rochelle. He is one of our partners and Principal HCM Analyst, brings a wealth of knowledge as a former CHRO and Chief Technology Officer. For those of you who maybe saw the chat, but didn't quite know how to do it, there are two options, of course. You can send comments directly to Michael and I, or you can chat with everybody. Hopefully, you will send the chats to everybody. Okay, without further ado, today's agenda. So as I mentioned, we do want to debut this client-first research approach. Our research agenda is always shaped by our faculty and our members. But we're also opening it up to you all. Hopefully you can help us shape this important research study. We're going to explore a little bit about AI transformation and the impact on HR, as well as get your insights to shape our research. So Michael, why don't you get us started here talking a little bit about our HR Outlook study that we did at the end of last year, and talk about what you're hearing and what you're seeing from organizations.
Thanks, David, and thanks everyone for joining. It's great to see that we've bulleted out some important features here. But the key thing that we're seeing in our HR Outlook is technology is great. AI is fantastic. It's unlimited in its potential to help and be able to assist organizations. I already saw a few comments that people want to know particular applications. What we want to focus on here and what we've seen from our research are two areas. One is how do we build capabilities within the organization? Do we need unique skill sets, competencies? Do we need to bring in new people that have new skills and competencies? What type of governance model do we need to put in place? But I think we all believe that AI is going to have a significant impact on HR. What I'd like to leave you with on this thought, and love to hear what people think, is one is how we go about and how we understand the blend between artificial intelligence, AI, and HI, human intelligence. The idea being that AI is not an extinction level event for anybody in the organization. Let's put it to rest for everyone out here that the only way you'll get replaced by AI is only the person that's using it versus the person that's not. It's not any of that. It's about AI is only as good as the people that work with it, particularly in shaping the impact of it within an organization. But I'd love to hear thoughts around that. How many people are concerned about how AI is going to happen? Do you have governance issues? Are you worried about data privacy issues? The ability to handle personal information? Are you worried about things like, am I going to plagiarize, break copyrights, do trademark infringement? Or just plain, I don't feel comfortable enough to work with that because I can't control the intended outcomes of it. But that's kind of where we are, David, right now. And we're really looking forward to getting people's feedback on how they feel about AI during this webinar.
Absolutely, Michael. I think what's really fascinating is how quickly we've moved from should I be using AI to how do I build a more strategic AI ecosystem? And
Exactly.
as you mentioned, Michael, I think governance plays into that. People are really concerned about how it's going to be used, obviously the data privacy. But I think people have really flipped a switch in the last even 6 months. Obviously we've been talking about AI for many, many years, and then generative AI kind of kicked things up a notch a couple of years ago. But a lot's happened in the last year, and I think people have become a lot more sophisticated. And speaking of some of our results from last year, Michael, we're looking here at the HR Outlook study, kind of breaking things down not only by human resources, but some other areas that are in our similar industry.
Yeah, I'd like to point out that this isn't necessarily because of the percentage of people answering high impact, that it isn't impactful uniformly across HR, as you pointed out, David. I would look at this more as how people are seeing where the obvious low-hanging fruit is. And you got to kind of take into consideration that if you're working with highly mature organizations in AI, these penetration rates would be significantly higher across all of these circles. So kind of look at this data with when you take the bell curve of where people are in that big maturity curve, this is what generally people are saying. So let's just take them one each and kind of hit what the high point is. And I think the second one actually is one of our audience attendees is super interested in how AI impacts talent acquisition specifically. Learning and development, the 58%, what's driving that is the ease of being able to generate content at scale, move at the speed of business, developing learning, developing education and training, and delivering it very quickly. So that's low hanging fruit, obvious for learning and development. A little bit of that is learning analytics, improving insights and analytics by being able to crunch things through AI and get more developed insights. For talent acquisition, it's broken up into three areas where the penetration is that we see. One is being able to source more effectively, two is being able to screen more effectively, and three is being able to have sharper onboarding focus for people, and AI can help with all of that. Again, I would say with talent acquisition, this is one of the areas where we have to be most careful because it's been so human centric in terms of actual recruitment, interpretation, perception of individuals interacting with individuals, that this will be a very hot topic and it's already the lead area that we see growing. But it'll be interesting how HI still stays in the game. On talent management, don't be, taken back by only a third of organizations saying high impact. There is some really solid use cases in there. One in particular is being able to use open networks to be able to crowdsource performance reviews using AI. Another area is being able to create predetermined career development pathing. Another area for AI is being able to improve insights as it relates to looking at employee engagement. But the one I think is leading the pack in that area is AI-driven coaching and mentoring, the ability to be able to log on and be able to have an at-scale interaction anywhere in the world, anytime. Leadership development, I think we see AI and leadership development as giving kind of overlap with talent management, giving leaders the opportunity to learn in a safe place and be able to get coaching and mentoring tips and be able to try out and be able to explore management styles and the safety of AI. Human resources, that 16% is almost 100% dominated by HR analytics. AI, when you look at the big HR providers that are out there, they're pouring a lot of time and dollars into HR analytics. How can I provide insights based on big data sets to be able to say, are we hiring the right people? Are people staying for the right reasons, the wrong reasons? Fairness and pay equity. All of these things are big data analytics. When it rains, why do people want to learn less often? So I would say 100% of the 16% is being poured into the analytics side. And finally, DEI, and this isn't a low percentage, folks, just simply based on the current events that are taking place. But overall, I think that the 8% is a bit misleading because there's so many things that are attributable to DEI when it comes to AI, like if you're making leaders better through AI, or if you're offering better career development opportunities, or using AI to crowdsource better and show the value and opinion of others, or having a greater impact on insights and engagement. So kind of look at that one as like, what is the 1/1 direct impact to the term strictly DEI? But I think it actually bleeds into these other areas, David.
Great insights, Michael. So now let's turn back to our audience with a poll. So if we could launch that, kind of looking at everything Michael's just shared, how do you see HR functions in your organizations currently using AI solutions? So we'll leave a couple minutes for the poll. Okay. So as we look at these results, I'm curious, are you seeing AI implementations primarily in specific functions or organizations taking a more integrated approach? I know that there's a lot of comments going through, and I think I saw some interest in there about tech stacks and utilizing different features, and then a combination of general and specialized AI is also a comment that I saw in there, trying to figure out, based on the size of my organization, which tech should I be using. So based on these results, if everybody's still seeing them, it looks like we have 40% are saying none of the above. 40% are saying HR service delivery and chatbots. So I think maybe that's some of those agents maybe. And then 20% at TA, learning, and workforce analytics.
David, if you don't mind, I think we got a minute on the issue of agents. I think this is a great example of existing or old AI and new AI. I think one of the things that we'd like to learn, I'd love to get feedback from the people in the audience as we shape the survey that we'll be launching around this, is that AI, in a lot of people's minds, have been 100% synonymous with ChatGPT or Anthropic. But AI has been around for a long time. It's a large umbrella for other pieces. And through our research efforts, we're trying to clarify that, chatbots, agents, digital assistants, they've been around a long time. But are they being reinvented, reimagined? Any input around that? So we're trying to allow people to understand that AI is an umbrella that's been out there for a while. AI goes back a couple decades. In particular, we'd love to get your comments on, for example, organizations are now using multiple LLMs. Is your organization trying to figure out how to use one right now? Would you even entertain using multiple ones? Under what circumstances? Which ones you're looking at are a favorite within your organization, getting most comfortable around? Love to hear any insights around that in the chat as we help to shape what new AI looks like versus existing or old AI.
That is That is always a great discussion. I had a conversation with an AI expert last week. He was telling me about how when he's been talking about AI, of course, for a long time, and he would sit in a room and there'd be like five people that he's presenting to at a big conference with thousands of people, and five people would be in there, and they had some interest, curiosity, and he's like, and now I'm like opening up for like 5,000-6,000 people in the room at the general session, and it's like, it's not exactly new. Things have changed. Things have evolved very quickly, but the people in the know have been talking about language models, large language models, and training things themselves for many years. So hopefully we get some feedback on that front. I'm not seeing any new comments pop in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next poll. Please feel free to comment on what Michael was talking about, how things are changing at any time. We're happy to circle back. So the poll that's up in front of you right now: in which area is your organization planning to implement or expand AI capabilities in the next 12 months? So is it building a comprehensive HR and AI tech stack strategy, implementing generative AI for personalized learning, enhancing talent acquisition, developing predictive analytics, improving employee experience, or we don't have any current plans to expand AI usage?
David, thinking back to while people are answering, thinking back to our recent conference and all the case studies from the awards programs and such, you can really see that people are thinking very heavily about this in the applications, from going back to say November of 2022 or even November of 2023, year into it. It's almost impossible to read a award-winning case study without having AI mentioned. It's had such a huge penetrative value. So we have the better part of 75 or so HCM entry capabilities across different award entries, another 50 or so in the tech area. But it's amazing how much it's already had an impact on why people think it's important as a differentiator in applying for a Brand Hall Group award.
Absolutely. And it's difficult to have conversations even with our clients, Michael, without having some level of AI in the discussion.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You're in as many as I am where people are like, hey, give me the best practices. Can I talk to a member of your adjunct analyst faculty group to learn more about how they applied AI? Sometimes I tease people and say, AI doesn't stand for artificial intelligence anymore. It stands for all in. Like you're either doing it or you're looking through the glass looking in to try to use it.
Absolutely. And what's really striking is how the priorities reflect different organizational maturity levels too. So some are still focused on specific applications, while others are looking at enterprise-wide strategies.
Exactly.
All right. Just to recap, I'm not sure if you can see these results on your end, but about half of people were saying that they have no current plans to expand their AI usage. And we had some mixed results throughout about some of the other questions. So here's our third and final poll, and then I'm going to get into some really great case studies for you all. What is the most significant challenge your organizations face in implementing AI for HR functions? Already seeing some of them come through. Privacy and ethical considerations, that's certainly something to be considered. That's something that we've seen. Building a cohesive technology strategy, that's very important. But what I'm seeing leading here is the lack of AI internal expertise. That's actually one of the things that we help our clients with at an institute, building some of their expertise. We have a lot of great application points for how AI can be used. So thank you all for your feedback. Michael, should I jump into some of these case studies, or did you want to discuss anything on this slide before I move on?
No, I think we can jump in. I think you hit on something that we haven't talked about. Yeah, like Institute, we have a international faculty adjunct analyst base, and they really help to drive the conversation. And we're finding that more people than ever, and I'm sure you agree, David, that there's great to read research and best practices, but if you don't have access to an international group of HR colleagues, experts, people have already are on their maturity journey, without having the ability to just physically talk to them. I think this is the time that I've seen the most that I've seen in our research efforts this time period of wanting to just talk about people that are actually doing it and where they are and what are the bumps and grinds than even reading a definitive piece around the perfect way to implement AI. And that's what I love about the institute mechanism we have is to be able to network HR professionals that are anywhere in this big curve as far as AI maturity and to help colleagues that are maybe behind them or in front of them or even with them and just talk it all out. We see a lot of networking taking place around where are you with AI? This is where I am. Do you feel the same way I do? So the verbalization of the research efforts, I think, is one of the biggest I've ever seen for a topic.
Yeah, and kind of jumping into this case study we have, one of the other things that our members enjoy is being able to connect with other award winners. So that's one of the big features is like, hey, I'm in these shoes. I'd love to talk to EPAM, who I saw the case study and would like to discuss how they did it. So this case study right here is from an award submission. In 2023, EPAM Systems, a global digital service provider, if you're not familiar with them, who's operating in about 55 countries, 5,300 employees. They launched a comprehensive AI education initiative that earned them a gold award for best learning program supporting a change transformation. And as Michael said, it's hard to see one of these case studies without seeing some AI in here. And this was an ambitious program, successfully transformed EPAM into an AI-ready organization by equipping their entire workforce with practical AI skills. So EPAM faced two significant challenges. First, the rapidly evolving AI landscape meant their technical employees needed to consistently update their skills to design, develop, and deploy cutting-edge solutions, meeting client expectations. Second, their non-technical staff needed to understand AI fundamentals to effectively communicate with their clients, identify AI opportunities, and support AI solutions. So the solution that they developed a three-tiered AI learning program. So level one, the introductory program focused on prompt engineering and foundations for all of their employees. The level two, the fundamental employees, that was more role-specific training for business analysts, designers, and engineers. Level three was for advanced hands-on courses for building generative AI applications. So the program used a self-paced format following human-centered learning design principles. The courses featured interactive content, practical exercises, and even an AI co-pilot to assist the learners. EPAM created a centralized knowledge base, promoted the program through multiple communication channels, and used badges to recognize achievement. The company encouraged employees' participation through collaborative approaches, inviting volunteers to contribute to course development. So some of the measurable benefits that they received were really exceptional. They had over 24,000 employees participate, which is a 43% engagement rate amongst their entire employee population. 93.4% of participants reported improved knowledge and skills. 88% of employees implemented their AI knowledge on client projects, which of course is probably the most important metric there. And then the client demand for AI-related skills increased dramatically, with positions requiring AI expertise growing 125%, and prompt engineering skills growing at 166. Obviously, this is really important for them as a organization that assists others. So some key takeaways for you all. Their success demonstrates that a well-structured, role-specific AI learning program can transform an entire organization by focusing on practical, immediately applicable skills and accommodating different learning needs. EPAM created a workforce ready to leverage AI across all business functions. This approach not only enhanced employee capabilities, but directly supported business growth by enabling EPAM to meet their increasing client demands. So I can't see any comments or questions about that case study, but we'll make sure we help you and support you if you need. Wanted to show another one. Maybe I won't go through all of it because I'm conscious of time here. The other one's from IBM. Oddly enough, Brandon Hall Group is housed in IBM's old headquarters where they developed the first personal computer. So anytime I see IBM, I get excited and look out the window. IBM received the Brandon Hall Group Excellence Awards for Best Advance in AI for Business Impact. IBM transformed its HR processes by creating an innovative digital worker built on the Watson Orchestra platform that revolutionized how the company manages its quarterly promotion cycles. So as Michael mentioned that a little bit more. And they had some, their solution was the HR team discovered their traditional conversational AI and RPA couldn't meet their needs. So as the technology lacked long-term memory and multi-role engagement capabilities, so instead they partnered with IBM research team actually and their CIO to create a HIRO program. And it was, like I said, a digital worker built on the Watson Orchestra. They had some great measurable benefits as well. So they reduced the promotion time from 10 weeks down to 6 weeks. They decreased HR partners' effort by 85%. They saved 50,000 hours annually and automated 12,000 hours of manual task. Okay, so wanted to talk briefly, Michael, if you can share a little bit about building your HR ecosystem that's powered by AI. I know there's a couple questions in the chat, so I'm sure they'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks, David. Always, it's amazing when you take a look at what organizations have been able to do so quickly and have such a dramatic global impact. Those numbers are super impressive that something's been around for a little over 2 years. So kind of jumping into the HR AI ecosystem, we've got some considerations here. And as we reflect on these considerations, really what's important is AI in and of itself is not a technology. What we're looking at is how does AI superpower your current ecosystem? And that's really important to realize. So as you're integrating HR functions, you don't have to think about AI as being a separate entity. It's how are you looking at your core systems and your specialized AI tool baked into your current tools? You got a lot of providers putting in front of you, we're AI enabled, we're AI powered, we're AI native. So we have to kind of think about like, how do we go about reimagining, rethinking the AI capabilities of all these different elements and bringing them into a larger understanding of what we're going to do with AI and how we're going to use it. And it doesn't mean that we use AI the same way and to the same level of depth in every technological ecosystem that we work with. The other thing we have to look at is the data flows governance. And I'm going to throw in there privacy issues as well. We're going to be moving around a lot of information in these kind of open environments, whether you're using an SLM and an LM, unless you build it yourself, we're going to have some open networks. So we have to think about how do we move information around? How do we protect it? But most importantly, remember now more than ever, AI is only going to be as good as how robust our data flow and our data stacks and stratifications, how well we're scrubbing our data. This is the ultimate version of garbage in, garbage out. So we have to really think about that. And governance is not a separate issue from data flow. Governance is inherent to making sure that these data stratifications, data lakes, scrubbing our data, QC, timeliness, completeness of data, puts your AI ecosystem in the best possible position to win. It's interesting that David added here build versus buy decisions. it's really a unique approach. That AI in and of itself could come into the building for free. I mean, you could just start using it tomorrow. It's one of the most ubiquitous tools ever invented. The concept is do you want 10,000 different people using a free version of something and creating whatever we want? So the build versus buy isn't necessarily saving money or time, but also thinking about a way of governing and a way of being able to consolidate. And if you're buying a uniform platform or uniform approach and making the decisions on how to use AI, and then letting everyone know that's what we're doing, that's different. I think Kathy's bringing up we measure ROI differently, and so we need to talk about that. And then the domain specific applications, this is one of those times where AI allows us to break down the silos of looking at different HR functionalities and saying, I can only generate insights within that stack. The beauty of AI is we can take learning information and see how that impacts talent acquisition. We can take employee experience levels and see how that impacts workforce planning. AI allows us to tear down the silos and data bridges that are there and be able to say, this is all one big thought. If we pull this all in together and then we're able to crunch, we can create better relationships to the impact now or the understanding of, say, employee engagement on learning or employee engagement on performance or the ability to onboard effectively and whether or not people think this is a learning focused organization when they apply for the job. Think about AI in your domain specific application. It's great to get the individual power of that. But the larger aim for AI is to create a gigantic flat data table in your ecosystem. So literally your industry leaders, you can go into your leadership teams and be able to say, I can answer anything about anything when it comes to HR. And that's the real promise of HR, AI ecosystem. David, what was the response by Kathy about that? She measures ROI differently.
Yeah, so Kathy was mentioning, I think feedback on the IBM case study that they measure recruitment AI is about quality of hire um, over time to fill, while learning AI is about skills acquisition rates. So it looks like her HR department's using it both from a TA and a learning standpoint.
Love that. That's a great example of not making it so specific that AI is over here or over there and there's no overlap. That's a great example of AI can just blend all of that rather than creating a blurring effect and bring clarity with, things that we normally wouldn't be able to marry.
Yeah. Great, great feedback. And speaking of feedback, we really want to get everyone's feedback here on, as we mentioned previously, the study that we're doing. And there's some discussion points. I know we're technically at time. We try to schedule a shorter webinar to give people time back. It looks like we haven't had too many people drop off, so the percentage is still high. We will send a recording of this for, if anybody does have to go. But we would love to hear from you. I think we have one more question to drop in. Perfect. What's one integration challenge you faced between AI tools and your core HR systems? So that comments in the chat. Michael, did you want to touch on any of these without leading the audience too much?
That's almost impossible knowing me, right? But I think what we're trying to get at is understanding, have you taken a 360-degree view of AI versus it just being, I think it's for this purpose only, and saying that's what I'm going to use it for, use case specific. We're trying to kind of elevate the discussion here to a more strategic look. And I think there's a shadow question in here, David, now that I look at this, is how does AI powered HR team get a strategic seat at the table? Can AI propel an HR organization into a strategic asset for the organization because of the insights, the scale, the opportunities that AI offers to make AI the center of the business discussion?
Michael, I was recently having a conversation with one of our clients about a seat at the table, and they felt like when COVID happened, they got a seat at the table because everybody needed to change, right? They relied on HR to help them with that. They felt like their seat kind of disappeared. And then, slowly things went back. And then AI happened. And then they asked again, hey, I need help. We have AI. We need to roll it out. We need to get feedback from people. And then they said same thing. Now they have what they need, or the CTO is kind of taking over, and HR needs to keep that seat at the table. So that's an interesting point that you made, like the shadow. Like I just had that conversation on Monday with a client.
We're getting some really interesting feedback. Should we try to tackle some of this, David, since everyone's staying with us?
Sure.
I like the one that was brought up in particular about data consistency. My job descriptions in the ATS don't match how they're structured in our HRIS, creating conflicts for AI analysis. Like on the ground, real time, here's something that's making AI kind of be a bumpy road within our organization. And what's interesting about that comment is, and I think gets right back to the questions you're asking, David, is like, is that an integration problem? Is that an integration challenge? Is it a cohesive strategy issue? Like, have we thought through the process? Do we have a skills gap? Like, is there new types of skills and competencies? Like, if we had a hardcore HR data analytics team, would they see that as an immediate gap and try to figure out how to fix it? But the thing I love about bringing that up is it limits the power for HR to show impact, which is bullet point number 3. If someone said to me, what is the leading problem statement that I got from that, is it doesn't allow me to be able to show measuring success because I can't make that connection. I can't make that grip. There's that misstep. So that misalignment is going to kind of shadow or make murky the successful application. And so AI, we got to remember, can be a workhorse to provide opportunities to get in there and figure out what we can do differently. We do that all the time in our research. We actually try to prompt the AI to tell us, like, what is the main challenge of something? How is it perceiving? I think the more that we work on that, AI actually could be the solution for that problem rather than looking at why AI is the challenge.
Great. So to kind of in closing here, we really, please feel free to we have one more last chat in there. But also, if you have any general questions for us, feel free to drop those in the chat as well. And we do hope, we'll make sure we prompt you. We hope that you'll complete our survey, Beyond Automation, Architecting the Future of HR Through AI-Powered Digital Transformation. Of course, you'll get HR readiness to embrace AI as a thank you for taking that survey. And if you have any questions outside of this webinar, please contact success@brandonhall.com.
Can I have a request, David? It just jumped into my head, if you don't mind, is with success@brandonhall.com, if you take the survey and you think that we should have asked more or different questions or answers were missing, I'd love for you to drop a note to success@brandonhall.com. Say you completed the survey. I would have liked to have seen these questions asked, or I think there's additional answers that could have been offered. Feel free to comment on the survey itself. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you do take that survey, please give us that feedback. There is a question in the chat about what you'd like to see in there. Had already one comment about measuring the impact of AI on employee experience over time. So that would be very helpful. And then I believe there was a raffle. Ivy, if you want to either drop that in the chat or come on to audio and let us know who the winner of the raffle is.
Yes, thanks, David and Michael. I'm excited to announce the winner of today's raffle winning a free Excellence in Action program submission is Nash Martin. Congratulations, Nash. We'll be reaching out shortly with more information.
Perfect. Thank you, Ivy, and congrats, Nash. Okay. Well, I just wanted to close and say, thank you so much for taking time out of your day, especially a little bonus time here at the end. And thank you, Michael, for sharing your insights on this important topic.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Ivy, and thank you to everyone in the audience. Have a great day.